Assistant Minister to the Treasurer, Michael Sukkar, with us. Thanks for your time today, Michael Sukkar.
G'day, Tom. Great to be with you.
Can I start, first of all, Scott Morrison was pretty keen to say this is not just luck. I think it's fair to say taking a bit of this credit. Will you and he and the government take responsibility if we see a big dip in future quarters?
Well, Tom, of course, none of this is luck. In the end, this is the entrepreneurialism, the aspiration, the hard work of Australians, of small and medium and large businesses and individuals who are aspiring to do better for themselves. What we take credit for is creating the pro-growth policies that create the economic environment that allow that to happen. So I think the Treasurer is always very keen to say this is the hard work of the Australian people that have done it. But this is a plan, a long-term plan that's been put in place by this government. The Labor Party would like you to think that it's all luck. You know, just like they did during the Rudd-Gillard-Rudd years, they wanted to say that it was all their very bad luck that the economy and the budget tanked so badly. None of this is luck. It's hard work. It's working to a plan, and the policies we've put in place over the last 4.5 years are bearing fruit, as we saw last year. 415,000 jobs created. We're now at the top of the leaderboard on GDP growth. Of course, it doesn't happen accidentally. We're not so conceited to take all the credit. The Australian people need to take credit, but we take credit for creating the circumstances that allow them to do what we know they can do, and that is to build a better life for themselves and for our country.
Can I ask you about your confidence going forward? Because one of the weaker figures here was households, consumer spending, not making up the usual chunk that they would. We've got household debt at 120% of GDP. How much of a concern is that, do you think?
Well, Tom, I think if you look at the numbers in totality, and you can slice and dice every aspect of these numbers on a quarterly or yearly basis to almost create any narrative you want. But I think if you look, any fair-minded person, and I think most economists, in looking at all the numbers, whether that's household consumption, whether that's the slightly reduced savings rate, whether it's the numbers we see in other surveys, I think in totality you'd say that that confidence in the economy is very strong. Confidence at a household level is strong. Business confidence is strong. That's why we've seen non-mining investment improve in recent quarters. So I think if you look at the evidence in totality, Tom, you'd say Australians are operating with a level of confidence that's underpinning a lot of the growth we're seeing.
Can I ask you as well, Brian Burston is now on board with the income tax cut. How close do you think you are here? You've got One Nation, the other One Nation senators still a maybe. Is this getting closer?
Well, Tom, you know, we'd hope that we don't need to corral Senate crossbenchers. We hope that the Labor Party will support us in giving low, medium income earners, and indeed all Australians, a tax cut in a plan that's calibrated over many periods. Sorry, Tom?
You hope that, but we both know that's not happening with Labor now.
But I think it's important to make that. I think we let the Labor Party off the hook a lot, Tom. I think we instinctively do it because we've become so used to them being opposed to all of our pro-growth policies, all of the policies that we put in place to reduce taxes in the economy. Yes, we do get fatigued and used to the fact that the Labor Party believe in a high taxing Australia. I suppose, to answer your direct question, you know, we are always hopeful. I think we're confident with the way our Senate leader, Matthias Cormann, manages these negotiations in a methodical and respectful way. But, you know, I don't think anyone is cracking open the champagne just yet. We have to wait and see what happens. But, you know, we'll keep making the case every day that Australians, hard-working Australians, should get to keep more of their own money because in the end, they can spend it better than government can.
I want to ask you about Amazon. It's going to stop servicing Australia from the overseas stores on July 1 because of the 10% GST that your government has put on purchases of less than $1,000. Treasurer Scott Morrison says he was in talks with Amazon. So was this decision Were you blindsided by it?
Well, Tom, to be quite frank, this has been in the pipeline for a very long time. It was the period, or the commencement date was extended by an additional 12 months from last year to this year. So Amazon, indeed all digital retailers, have had a huge amount of time to prepare for this. In essence, Tom, our view is Australian retailers who have to collect and remit GST shouldn't be put at a disadvantage by foreign online retailers, and in a sense almost a reverse tariff which hurts Australian retailers compared to foreign retailers. So to us this is a surprising decision from Amazon, given that they invest some $30 billion a year, I'm told, in R&D. You'd think they'd be able to manage their platform to account for these things. Indeed, they do in many other jurisdictions. And they do it in many other jurisdictions too, Tom.
And I can pick up your cynicism over this. Can I ask, for people at home who might be using Amazon in particular, you know, there's a lot of items a lot cheaper when you do buy it internationally. Don't worry about even adding on the GST. July 1 is the date this is going to take effect. Is there any chance it will be resolved by then?
Well, look, Tom, the Treasurer is in a better position to answer that. These are ultimately questions for the retailers. I can assure you, if Amazon want to vacate the space, there'll be no shortage of other retailers, online retailers, who I'm sure will be very happy to fill the void, whether it be eBay or others, to fill any gap in the market for any Australians who want to access those sorts of products. And you know, if Amazon
so are you
wants
looking, just to that end, are you looking at all on possible changes, not on collecting the tax, but how it's done? Or are you saying this is how it is, Amazon,
No,
you access our market like this, or not at all?
Tom, we've gone through a very long, methodical process on how to apply GST, just like we apply it on Australian retailers, on foreign digital retailers. It's not about that. It's ultimately a decision for Amazon. Do they want to comply with that law or not? If they don't want to, the reality is there'll be many other online retailers who are happy to fill the space left by them. And in the end, Tom, I think it's untenable for us to impose GST requirements on Australian retailers and put them at a disadvantage versus foreign online retailers. It's unfair for the hundreds of thousands of Australians who work in Australian retail.
Can I ask very quickly, Craig Kelly, his position is not all that certain in New South Wales. Tony Abbott says there should be some intervention. Where do you sit on this?
Well, Tom, look, I'm not going to give too much unsolicited advice other than to say, no, Craig's supported by many people. I mean, Craig's supported by the Prime Minister, he's supported by the Treasury, he's supported by the whole team, and we think he makes a huge contribution to the government, a huge contribution to our party room, and I think the support that you're seeing given to him, not just by Tony Abbott, but by all those aforementioned people, mean that we're very keen for him to continue representing the people of Hughes. And in the end, it's the people in the electorates who decide who represents them, and that'll occur at the ballot box sometime next year.
Michael Sukkar, thanks as ever for your time today on Sky News.
Thanks.